Well, hello, that's me again. Today is July 5th. It is post-Independence Day. It is Friday, I think so. So, I will not say that it is thank God it's Friday because we had the day off yesterday, but it is what it is. And let's start with the things which really define the agenda, so to speak. And we will start obviously with visit of Viktor Orbán. And as you can see yourself, RT defined it as Orbán defies EU officials with Putin meeting as it happened. Actually, Viktor Orbán took on himself to do this kind of shuttle mission between Kiev and Moscow, trying to somehow end the conflict, in effect, of special military operation. So he went to Kiev first. Evidently, that the photo says that he didn't really shake Zelensky's hand because everybody who shook his hand ended up being ousted in parliamentary elections, which have been held both in France and now Great Britain and United Kingdom, rather. And so he went to Kiev and tried to arrange the ceasefire, at least. And while there, obviously, he enraged whatever the modern Western European elites are, whoever they are, and as you understand, that there was a hysterical reaction, and for some reason they think that he defies. Well, here Mr. Szijjártó, the foreign minister of Hungary, Peter Szijjártó, he is telling as it is. Hungary is a sovereign state. Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó told Russian reporters on Friday when asked about Brussels' criticism of Hungarian delegation's visit to Moscow. And he's talking that don't confuse pro-war politicians with people in Europe. And this is an important statement by him. Obviously, that, Orbán made it official. He spoke directly about the fact that positions of Kiev and Moscow are extremely far apart, which is expected. But Mr. Szijjártó saying those things, which are pretty much sensible, and especially talking about the not confusing the pro-war politician with people in Europe, I, in some respects, obviously agree with him. And many people also tell me that, oh my God, you kind of treat Europeans often or speak about them as not real people. You don't have any compassion and things like that. And people, as I already stated, I spoke about very many times on so many occasions, is the fact that I understand. I have heart. My soul and heart hurting just seeing how already, for example, old people in Europe begin to suffer, people who really don't make any normal living there, and how the traditional European cultures are being eradicated. They are being basically erased, and you can take a look at France. France is not France anymore. There is very little France, actual France, whatever it was, left. Primarily, it's turning into the actually, crap hole, and it will continue unabated, no matter who comes to power. Is it going to be Marine Le Pen? No, she's not going to change anything because Marine Le Pen is professional oppositioner, and the fact that her party won elections means absolutely nothing. The same goes for United Kingdom. Okay, Labour thrashed conservatives. Oh my gosh. And guess what? What's the difference? A little bit more social payments, maybe, for the bankrupted countries such as United Kingdom. But guess what? All this labor, primarily, not all of it, in United Kingdom, for all those applauds and, excitement about them thrashing Tories, they will continue to culturally enrich, if you know what I mean, the United Kingdom. London is already a dirty and really crappy place, and not only London, so they will continue to do those homicidal cultural and economic policies. It makes no difference whatsoever. We are talking about on the systemic crisis. And in this particular case, when you look at this, well, it definitely happened partially or sometimes largely through the consensus. and through the agreement, so to speak, the social contract between the Western, primarily European, but primarily European public and powers that be. Plus, of course, they, as usual, remember Meloni? She's nothing more than a bimbo. She promised and spoke very largely about all those issues which, obviously were worrisome for Italian population. Guess who she is? She's a globalist puppet. Same goes for Le Pen, and whoever comes to power, in labor, they are people who, none of them, nobody, there is literally zero any people there who can resolve the situation which unfolded with the start of the special military operation, but even earlier, obviously, with the Maidan coup in 2013, early 2014 in Ukraine. They were the ones who were pushing for it. They were lying and cheating, and guess what? These guys will continue to do so. It is the same as Marine Le Pen, pronounces this, announces this magnificent news that once she takes the power, they will not allow sending French troops to Ukraine. Well, first, let's be actually clear again. France cannot send any troops because it doesn't have any which will be, in any significant in any military sense. So in this case, it is absolutely is declaring that, oh my gosh, tonight I will go to sleep. Wow, the news. So this is all the same thing, and this is all the same recycling of all those news, which of course are provided by our wonderful, so to speak, media. And just to demonstrate to you the absolute craziness and the loss of any kind of the reference to the reality. Here, for example, this piece from yesterday that some reports, that NATO fears French withdrawal. Media. The reports come shortly after the right-wing National Rally Party topped the first round of snap elections in France. Well, and they talk about the French of withdrawal from NATO is growing. So again, this is about nothing. This is absolutely non-news. Some media outlets, some so-called analysts, and again, there are very few real analysts in Europe who really have a, real grasp on the reality. So saying that France will withdraw from NATO, really? Marine Le Pen is not completely suicidal yet, so there is no reason to worry about the France withdrawing from NATO, and the same as France sending non-existent troops to Ukraine, well, Russia now actually. And so when you look at that, you have to come up with this definition of which anybody, any lay person now has to come up with this definition of what we are living in. It is complete recycling of the news to create absolute panic and excitement and anxiety, and this is what sells. And let me give you the definition, which I'm not going to be reading aloud for you. You will read it yourself, because this is the definition from one of the most notable Western journalists, who gives the definition of the modern journalism, what it is. And so here it is, and you please, I'll shut up for a moment, and I'll let you read what the press is and what journalism is. And of course, the name of Mr. is Hunter S. Thompson. Continue to read what it is, because I obviously do not want to read it aloud, because they will shut down my channel because of this. But this is exactly what it is, and this is when you look at the basically media today, well, 99% of them are like that. They are, as you can see yourself, they don't have any profession, they don't have any occupation. These are people who are drawn to this so-called profession is just because, well, some of them are activists, and as Jim Stoppard once written, for the first principle of journalism used to be report the world. Today it is change the world, and this is what you have. And the people who really want to change the world as they understand, not as it has to be changed to, and they want to change it into to something which is absolutely unachievable, they are usually people with some serious mental and other emotional issues. And this is what primarily media are, if you look at actually starting from New York Times to Washington Post to CNN and what have you. So you know the definition now. So I will not return to this definition anymore. And we continue to see the, absolute craziness about this ceasefire, but let me show you something which Mr. Putin stated in Astana, where there was a Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting held for the last 2 days, and he is talking about, as he says, this issue is key. As you can see yourself, it is reported by RIA News. And Putin, as he quoted, it's unlikely to end the conflict on Ukraine only through the intermediaries. This was the slap on the face, I would say, of Mr. Erdogan, who offered himself as the intermediary. And Russia has some issues with Turkey which need to be resolved, and obviously Mr. Erdogan offering himself as intermediary is absolutely useless because Russia doesn't trust him anymore, because Erdogan will be obviously squeezing, which he probably should, squeezing not only for himself some kind of credit for the offering platform or intermediary services, but also for his own, promotion, and Russians don't like this. But then again, Mr. Putin, and as he continues to say, here it is. It is impossible to allow the enemy anymore to take advantage of this after the ceasefire in order to improve his situation, to rearm, to replenish himself. We need to ensure that opposing side agrees to take steps that would be irreversible and acceptable to the Russian Federation, the president stressed. It seems to me unlikely to finally end the conflict with the help of mediators, and only through them, he continued. First of all, because it is unlikely that the intermediary will be empowered to sign the final documents. Correct. And it's not only about the signing of the documents, but it is also about the situation again with position of the Europeans especially, and obviously the United States, because Mr. Zelensky, for example, is a puppet. He obviously is culpable, and he is the guy who will be designated to hold the bag after this all over, and Kremlin clearly understands what is going on in this respect. And so whenever we talk about intermediaries and some kind of negotiations, you know what is coming. Conditions immediately. What are Russian conditions? First, the armed forces of Ukraine get the hell out of the new 4 Russian territories completely to the administrative borders of the 1991. After that, well, the next condition comes, it actually is the disarmament of Ukraine, and the denazification and demilitarization is ongoing right now, and at this stage, it is very clear that nothing could be done about it from the West other than agreeing on the Russian conditions. Are they severe? Yes. Are they humiliating? Absolutely. But this is the best offer Putin or Kremlin, if you wish, offer, so to speak. The next one, and this offer right now is expiring fairly soon. The next one will be even more humiliating. And but as I already stated, because we are dealing with the people especially in the Western media, make no mistake, there are people in Russian media who are very much the same, very much in accordance to the definition of the Hunter Thompson, who is actually the founder of the Gonzo journalism. So the guy knows a thing or two about all that, he is not around anymore. But just to demonstrate to you how perverted those people are, and you have to keep in mind that you're dealing with the political media complex in the West, including Washington. Well, they call it military-industrial congressional media complex, which is absolutely correct. And you know that Eisenhower actually wanted the not military-industrial complex title during his parting speech in 1961, January 5th, before departing from the White House. He wanted to call it military-industrial congressional complex. But as his granddaughter says, well, he didn't want to say congressional because he had still a couple of bills stuck in the Congress and he needed to push them through. So that's why we know military-industrial. But today it is military-industrial congressional media complex. And again, just to demonstrate to you how hysterical and very much in accordance to the definition of what Mr. Thompson gave us about media, apart from them being culpable into their war crimes and crimes against humanity, here it is. Just to demonstrate to you. About France, back again. So some guy today writes for the so-called responsible statecraft. It's Quincy Institute, which is still, financed by all those, oligarchs. But look at this. This is how he describes the situation that French President Macron in desperate hours, his insistence on a bold pro-Ukrainian strategy turned out to be tone deaf, and now his power is on the line. And you see, here is the problem. Macron had no strategy. The only thing they can do, there's nothing more, not bold strategy, but BS. So in this case, it has to be called on a bold pro-Ukrainian BS, because this is the only thing which they can do. And most people there, be that Macron or Le Pen or Sunak, who is now out, or whatever the guy comes in UK, they have no idea what strategy is and how actually practices. Not just talk about it and spewing all kinds of BS and shaking the air about themselves. So when they say a bold pro-Ukrainian strategy, it's not a strategy. He never had strategy because France cannot have strategy because it's an economic and military pipsqueak, except as I already stated. Remove their, Airbus and couple of shipyards and that's it. There's nothing left there. Well, creaky, as Dmitry Lov says, creaky nuclear energy industry, and that's about it. There's nothing more to it. So in order you to implement strategy, you have to have actually resources which you attach to the strategy to achieve your goals. So neither Germany, nor France, nor anybody else in Europe can have strategy. United States can have strategy, but it doesn't have good strategies because obviously, as you can see yourself in the latest news, and listen, this is, I am reporting it from the Russian websites because obviously, as you understand, the media in United States, they are extremely, stingy about reporting these things. And so, as you can see yourself, Biden made a slip of the tongue and called himself a black woman. I am proud, as I said, to be the first vice president, the first black woman, and serve alongside a black president, he said in an interview with WRD station in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So this is the guy who was elected, and again, make no mistake, we warned about it, many of us, that it's gonna end up, obviously, in a complete catastrophe. But hey, what can I say? Now they talk about this. Only Michelle Obama can be Donald Trump, the poll. Many Democrats believe U.S. President Joe Biden should drop out of the race after his poor debate performance. Michelle Obama, the wife of former U.S. President Barack Obama, is the only potential Democratic candidate who could beat Republican frontrunner Donald Trump in the November elections, according to a new Reuters Ipsos opinion poll. Well, we know they are worthless opinion polls. They are all not about reflecting their reality. But hey, you know what? Biden's actually administration is nothing more than extension of the Barack Obama. It's his third term, and he wants the fourth. And yeah, so when you look at Obama family, well, Mr. Obama was the guy who was at the, basically, well, he screwed up on the foreign relations so much, well, due to basically being unintelligent and incompetent hack, which he is. He probably was a lawyer and he was community organizer, but yeah. And Michelle Obama, did you read her, whatever, it's not even, it's bachelor's degree in some crap, so sociology of some, gender, whatever the heck, and race thing. So I read it, browsed it. I would never subject myself to such excruciating pain of reading her, or whatever it was, the diploma work or whatever, which was pathetic. It's the, so yeah, I read it. So if you want want these people back in charge? Well, not really back in charge. They are in charge. Well, yeah, they will destroy United States completely and the country will disintegrate. Simple as that. Not that Donald Trump will be much better, because the guy, obviously, he is utter narcissist, and I'm not sure that he really can learn from his mistakes, but at least he will speak, nicely to you, selling you this BS, which they always do. But now, when you look at the reality of the front, for example, here are Russians in New York, as you can see yourself. You look at the scale on the right lower corner. And as you can see yourself, Russians yesterday have been already in the New York, or the suburbs, so to speak. Well, it's a village, village kind of, town, let's put it this way. So Russians are in New York. Not only they are basically killing everything which really moves in terms of the armed forces of Ukraine, but they are now liberating New York, and it sounds really great. I mean, can you imagine the headlines once New York is liberated in Russian press? Yeah, they're already funny, but so here we have this situation, and then you go and take a look at this. So as you can see yourself, it was moderated somewhat for the last few days, where it dipped a little bit beyond 2,000 killed and wounded a day. Now we have July 4th data. As you can see yourself, 2,225 officially confirmed by Russian Defense Ministry. There is some discrepancy about, for example, tanks and APCs. We know that yet another, Abrams have been killed, bunch of T-72s by Ukraine. Armored vehicles, they have like about 10 of those vehicles which do not really match, and but I'm pretty sure this will be rectified by the Russian Defense Ministry, by their press service. So as you can see yourself, and you look attentively, okay, what do you have? 29 plus 54, so it is what, 83, right? 83 plus 9, it's 92. So you have 92 pieces of equipment which have been annihilated. And keep in mind that, for example, tanks and APCs, they carry anywhere between 3 to 8 people, and so take average, is including the crew of some artillery, could be again 3 or 4 people. Mortars usually 2, maybe 3. So take 4. And so when you look at this, this is the 360 at least, or around 400, which are not even counted as killed or wounded, because Russians simply do not count it. And as I already stated, every day the full brigade is wiped of the order of battle of the armed forces of Ukraine, which somehow still exercise this suicidal idea that they need to go to the, on the counteroffensive, because obviously it is more Ukrainians will die because they need to be sacrificed at the altar of the, schizophrenic American internal political policy, so to speak, and election cycle. But that's what they want to do. And as Zelensky himself complained, we have almost 14 brigades. Well, what is 14 brigades? 42,000? Okay, yeah, it's essentially, roughly speaking, Army Corps. So what are you gonna do? This is around Kharkov and the areas out there. Sure, throw them in. Well, they are barely equipped nowadays. They are literally not trained. There is no good training there. So yeah, throw them into the meat grinder. They will all be dead. And this is, but at least it will allow those people whom Mr. Thompson characterized, during me, keeping silent and you reading definition of what media are, for them to report something to support Biden administration, because most of the mainstream media in the United States are completely corrupted by all kinds of the intel organizations and the DNC, Democratic National Committee. So they need to report something. Although they are in panic, sure, let them be in panic. Look at the list of the donors of Democratic Party. It's pathetic, really. So those people are just, I don't want to go there. So, but if that hasn't been enough, so we have this situation. So, and it is one thing when I say this, okay, totally another when that comes from this guy. And again, Russians, yeah, my task is to also present you with facts. The Ministry of Defense spoke about the ineffectiveness of the Patriot systems. Look where it comes, who it comes from. American Patriot air defense systems are not capable not only of covering defended objects, but also of protecting themselves. Lieutenant General Andrei Semyonov, commander of the Air Defense and Missile Defense Forces, deputy commander of the Aerospace Forces, told reporters. Yeah, this is not Russian propaganda, we know that. And during the special military operation, the high combat capabilities of Russian air defense systems were confirmed to repel strikes of all types of enemy air attack weapons. In contrast to the advertised Patriot air defense system supplied to Ukraine by countries, it's machine translation, so it's a little bit, countries, NATO countries, who, according to the experience of the special military operation, turned out to be unable not only to cover the designated facilities, but also to resist modern Russian means of destruction, that is, to protect themselves. We know this, and again, listen, let's go back to 2019 and the Aramco facilities. They couldn't stop slow Houthi drones. Now, it's ridiculous. So, and this is when you look at the overall effectiveness, which was confirmed by Mr. Putin and other really reputable people who talk about that, 95% plus of the intended targets have been intercepted. And when you look at how many targets was intercepted, in many tens of thousands, in the same interview by the same Mr. Semyonov. I'm not just gonna go over the whole interview trying to, explain it to you, because I am on record. You can quote me. In terms of air defense and anti-missile defense, United States, let alone NATO, whatever European chihuahuas, they are not even in the same league. And yes, this is a critical strategic factor which actually defines the outcome in the most dramatic way. Many people don't understand this, but as I already stated, you can try to kill Russians and you will kill some. Well, primarily in NATO civilians. This is the only targets they can find, and so this is what the NATO ISA provides them with the schedule and the actual state of the Russian radar means of detection. And that's why they find some gaps and attack the primarily civilian targets, as they did yesterday or day before yesterday in the Krasnodar Krai, Krasnodar region. That's what they do. They attack apartment complexes, kill civilians, children, women, old people. So that's pretty much what are long-range fires of the NATO. Well, United States. So, and when you look at this data, this is like, yeah, sure. I mean, I told you so. Read my latest book. I mean, there is an astonishing, actually, statistics which is pouring from the front line, and yeah, they are in panic. And that's when it comes back to what I was talking about, the people of Europe, and why I might be heartless, or, you know what, they will yet, well, they are already learning. This is just the start, and it's a warm-up. But this is the, cold, hard reality. They will learn how warfare of the scale projects itself on the economic troubles at home. And that's what is happening right now. We're looking at France, we look at Germany, we're looking at United Kingdom. These are bankrupt countries primarily. They have no money, they have no ability to search in, with whatever production they have. So goes for the United States. That, as I already told you, Jerome Powell is on record. It wasn't reported properly, but yeah, he's on record. We cannot continue to print money anymore. It's over. Nobody believes that United States can pay this debt down. Absolutely not. There is no absolute wherewithal. And there you go. So the very high inflation is coming. For now, it's being hidden. Still, it's out there. You can feel it. But it will be much worse. And it's like, in conclusion, to describe to you what is the state and what is the, if you wish, the embodiment or expression of the present state of the, Western world, United States primarily, but Europe is over. It's done. It's this. Well, it's really not a good news. Remember, yeah, there are still guys there. They were supposed to return very long time ago. But as you can see yourself, 2 days ago, Boeing Starliners returned delayed indefinitely. And these two poor people, those poor two astronauts, are now stuck in the International Space Station. But, of course, we hear those things that, however, NASA officials state that Butch Wilmore, the mission commander, and Suni Williams, the mission pilot, are absolutely able to clamber aboard Calypso, as they dubbed their Boeing Starliner, and head back to Earth at any time if there was an emergency and they had to. Yeah, I wouldn't like to be in their place, honestly. So Butch and Suni are not stranded in space, Steve Stitch, NASA's commercial crew program manager, insisted after the latest delay was announced. Their spacecraft is working well and they are enjoying their time on the space station. You see, this is, you have actually the emergency, because obviously they cannot fix the issues with the leaks of the helium and whatever the hell other problems with the Starliner. So do we see Soyuz or maybe Musk's, capsule going there? Very well could be. They may call, obviously, Russia, and Russians will assemble additional Soyuz and launch it to save this crew. But it's obviously embarrassment. And guess what they do? They do the same as the Western media do. They call crap and say it's a candy. So, but in reality is with the Starliners, it's really serious. I mean, and nobody would risk lives of the astronauts. God bless their souls. Let them stay and return safely back to Earth. And we all wish them really well. And God forbids to risk their lives for nothing except for the PR. And this is what I wanted to tell you, so to speak, on this post-ID, post-independence day. And yeah, I cooked bratwurst, very good, with the red cabbage. So yeah, classic American food. So, and this is what I wanted to kind of present you today with this review. And as always, guys, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. Those who can afford, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee too. And so that will be it for today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.